suspect pipeline, and when do we sort of disqualify donors and move them in a different way.
Right. When we were working together and building the model, I think I had used the analogy intentionally with the insight that utilizing these models and these lookalikes as a scent trail. So I'm going to go with the dog theme here, right? To help point in kind of narrowing down where to take action, right? Married up with the knowledge and expertise that you have, because the model's not going to have all the answers, right? Again, it's a scent trail to really narrow the focus. But what were some of the internal discussions or dialogues, or often our clients have debates around, I've been doing this for so many years, and that can't be right, and the data is demonstrating something. So did you have those tensions?
We had some. I'd say for us, we had an interesting culture where my major gift team was being measured oftentimes on how many people they had under cultivation, not necessarily how they were moving those donors, through the process and the journey.
Right.
And they felt almost penalized to disqualify somebody and say, you know what, this person just, there's not a great match for us. They're not interested in what we're doing. They would hold on to those donors. Okay. So I think with the modeling data now that they see, there's this whole universe of people that we've never really spoken to before that, can really fill their portfolios with the right kind of gifts that we're looking for, to grow the organization transformationally. Okay. I think the other real aha moment for my team is we, for a long time, had this idea that we needed to have National Geographic coverage. We had to have somebody in every state working it. But when we did that screening, our gut feeling of where our top performing staff were all in the right places. And like many nonprofits, we hug the coast.
Right.
That tends to be where the majority of our major giving donors are. And so it really reconfirmed to me some decisions I'd made, I want to put somebody here, or I want to move somebody into that spot, that the data supported that decision making, that, we knew we weren't just putting somebody, in the middle of Ohio when there weren't any donors to support them. That's so that, we were really trying to be strategic in how we deployed even our staff.
Right.
And, and then that's also made me a little bit more able to go back to my own board, and say, you know what, we're getting ready. We've got all this data. We have this huge pool of new potential donors that we want to, feed into the pipeline. I need more research capacity. So, it was able to help me think about like how I staff my team going forward. And so I'm adding another researcher to the mix, because as we have this huge new volume of folks, as people bubble up and we make some initial contact and get going, we need to be able to back that up with research as well, and have kind of even more, on the ground factual information than just the data. So, it's really kind of made us retool and rethink how we're deploying our teams.
Right. I know, some clients that we work with, I'm not sure if this took place at Humane Society, when we're working on portfolios, I don't want to purge anyone, right? I want to hold on, right? Because I just really believe that this person's going to come through. I've been taking them to lunch
for 10 years.
For 10 years. I know they're going to come through, and it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
And we like to use the notion, it's not about purging, it's about tuning and focusing.
Right.
Did you face that, or can you tell a story about some aha moments from the gift officers?
We definitely, and I think too, I really incentivize for my staff that disqualifying somebody is as important as making contact with a donor. Because if you, rather than holding on to that person for 10 years, if you've done everything, you've tried every outreach method possible, and you're just not able to connect with this person, we can put in there, hey, we're just not able to connect with this person.
Sure.
And we've developed a way where we flag those people, that we look at them every so often, that we kind of review those folks that we think, have some really great interest in the organization and potential there, but they're not quite ready yet. The other thing is I reached out to my colleagues in our mid-level giving program, because I did not want to take these, potential high-value donors and throw them back into kind of a classic direct mail marketing program if it wasn't serving them and it wasn't doing something to kind of elevate the level of communication they're getting. So what we've done now is we've feed those folks into our mid-level giving program, which is, not based on direct mail premiums. It's a much, higher quality touch. We offer several, sort of webinars and opportunities to interact with our CEO over the year. They get kind of special action alerts, and they're just treated, in a little bit more insidery way than just kind of a classic direct mail donor. We're also really looking at those folks too on their age. So our planned giving team is really, really involved in all of this as well. They're also deployed geographically, but for them, they may be monitoring and cultivating 1,000 donors at a time, whereas the major gift team really only has the capacity to manage 200 or 300 people at a time, but they're looking at kind of the lifetime length of that donor's experience in the organization. So we're customizing a little bit more, how do these people behave differently when they're 65 and older or 75 and older, and how do we make sure that they're getting the right communication for us, that they're still engaged with the organization. So it really does kind of go back to that holistic look at, the donor journey. Across the journey. Right. And, just a couple of weeks ago, we got a huge bequest. It was over $1 million. And it was a school teacher who had given us, I think, $10 a month for 40 or 50 years, but had been cultivated and brought up and identified a couple of years ago as a potential planned giving prospect. And so that donor, by sort of getting that monthly outreach, really, really paid off in the ultimate gift that they gave in the end. And, we had no idea, that this person was going to leave that kind of a gift. We'd engaged with them. They'd asked information about bequest giving. They weren't somebody who was going to surface up necessarily in our wealth engine screening, but because they came in, through other ways that we measure the list, we were able to kind of flag them and identify them.
That holistic view in one place, such that you could bring them along on that journey. That's a fantastic story. Often in our business, because we're providing a set of services that are a combination of computer generated, right? We're running algorithms and a big acronym around AI and artificial intelligence, and I like using the words, it's not artificial, right? It's augmented, right? Again, because we're providing some insights to the teams that are running the business. And sometimes there's some hesitancy around, well, a computer model, an algorithm can't do what I do. Right. Or there's sometimes these kind of intangibles that take place inside of an organization, right? That either slows down or often kind of prevents embracing the use of analytics and, in this case, use of custom modeling. Were there some intangibles that you were facing that you could speak to, just organizationally or systems or
I'm lucky that most of my data team are young and very, very go-getters. And so they were really excited about this. And I think their excitement spilled over to the rest of the organization. So I was fortunate I didn't have to do a hard sell that this was important. Good. But I will say that my board and other folks are a little bit more, what are they doing down there? What is Kim doing differently? And their approach had always been, you bring in major gifts through that network of your board members bringing people in, or you sell, gala table guests, whereas we're saying, we still need to do that. We still need to do that, but augmented. We have 6 million names, donors in our universe, and there's so many people who are already raised their hand. I love the organization. I love animals. I want to do everything I can to, make the world a better place for animals. Yes. And they're right here with us, and that we can more efficiently work through those. So, and I've always, said that I think it takes two things, it takes the modeling for us to say, hey, take a look at this differently, and then the human eye. And you sat in a meeting with my major gift teams where, we presented some of the modeling data, and one or two of them were like, well, wait a minute, that one donor just made a $10,000 gift, I think was one of them. And so, so we've really, we haven't been heavy-handed in our approach with you have to, just use the modeling data, is saying, here's what we think are the best prospects. Our prospect management team actually reviews that. And sometimes somebody will say, oh my gosh, this is so-and-so who's got a connection there. So we take it to the next level. Right. And, there is that little bit of that human instinct on it as well. Right. And you could have the best donor who scores the highest on your model, and you can't connect with them. That happens where you're like, oh my God, I know this person, everything here is telling me the right thing, but they're not ready to connect yet. That's right. And so you've got to then think of, use that human factor of how do we engage this person? How do we get them beyond just, writing that check that they're doing right now? That's right. Right. And again, that's where it comes to that augmentation of what an algorithm or a model can provide as a way that can, I think, often just put a spotlight on, in this case, maybe an individual
or it could be at a geography
Yep.
or a decile, as we
Well,
talk
and
about in the
other
models.
teams who
right?
aren't even fundraising teams in the organization are really interested in this. So we have a farm animal protection division, and they've scored incredible gains for animals. They've really gone after kind of ending the most egregious abuses of farm animals. But one of their other big programs is sort of promoting Meatless Mondays, and